Hello and welcome back to Factorio's Space Age, where we are on Fulgora working on sorting through all of the outputs from from recycling our scrap. We worked up a sorter in the last episode. It's not bad, but it is severely rate limited. So as you can see, what's happening is we have one bulk inserter pulling off of each belt for each item. And if we want to create a belt of an item, we have one bulk inserter pulling from the box to do the belt. So, in fact, most of these are even fast inserters. So there's a upper limit on how fast I can pull stuff, which is kind of low, actually. In fact, it's really low. And I am not doing any of the re-recycling, and we've talked about that. So I want to do a different slice. So let's grab the old slice. I'm going to put it out here where you can look at it. Now the problem is that we are limited here and here. What we really want to do is something like this. The idea is that we will capture into the box until the box is full or at some limit, and then we will pull out of the box when we can to beef up the output there. This way, the actual output is nice and full. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. And we're going to come back south down here. There's going to be some power and such in here somewhere. What is my maximum distance that I can stride here? It would be like that. Okay. So that provides me with coverage out through that inserter. Now we always need to be pulling into these boxes. And we need to be pulling out of the boxes at least as fast as we can put in. So I am going to always use bulk inserters for this. Now this, because of the way this is working, this will have gears on both sides of the belt. This guy will preferentially put it on one side though. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now I actually have a spreadsheet there, which I can bring up real quick. This shows for each item how fast it's coming into our recycler area. Let me bring up the whole thing here for context. So coming in the left, we have two red belts, which is a total of 3,600 per minute. That's also the rate of a single turbo belt. We'll be looking at turbo belts later, much later. We will probably redesign this well before then, but that's the theory. So 3,600 scrap coming in. And what I said was I'm going to peel off stuff here, and then we're going to re-scrap all of these. So at some point, we will have filled up as much here as we want. I am going to, but we're going to use this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm only going to pull, well, okay. I don't necessarily have to load it in all the time. And I don't necessarily have to pull it out because this will pull it out like this. But what I'd like to do is if we have a bunch, I want to be feeding it out onto the belt. And if we don't have a bunch, I want to be putting it in. So in reality, I think this is about as good as we're going to do. We will use the quantities in these boxes to gate some things. So if If the boxes are full, we will trigger a last chance recycle. So we need to force recycling on these guys if we have more than a certain amount of gears. So looking at the rate again, where'd it go? There it is. You can see I was typing when I had my input focus on my editor there. So these are ordered by how fast they come out of the scrap area, but I also have the total rate, which includes the re-scrapping. So for instance, I'm getting 576 gears per minute. And this notation of bulk here says that one bulk inserter could take all 576 and load it into a scrapper. And that scrapper can handle it. 2 says that we need 2 recyclers to handle the concrete. We're getting 172.8 concrete per minute, but it recycles slowly. For some reason, the recycle recipe for concrete is slow. The other one that's really slow is steel plate here. Notice I've got fast. We don't really need bulk inserters anywhere. A fast inserter, this is where we could use fast inserters to load it into the recycler, and those would work just fine. We're going to do bulk everywhere, so I'm just going to get rid of that column from my spreadsheet. But this does mean that in order to successfully keep ahead of this scrap, we need 2 machines recycling concrete, 3 machines recycling steel plate, and 3 machines recycling the copper wire. We get a lot of copper wire. That's because when we recycle blue chips, we get a ton of copper wire out of it. Okay, so this is just if we recycled everything through. I could do a more detailed version of this. So for instance, we could handle the copper wire coming from blue chips on a separate thing. It's an idea. We'll look at that as time goes by. And let me turn off the spreadsheet for a moment. I'm going to keep that kind of along the side. Go ahead and clip that into a screenshot somewhere if you want. Okay. So here's this. I want to hook all of these together horizontally. But that's going to be a little difficult because they're going to be putting these down as individual blueprints, and hooking from one to the next is kind of tricky. One way to do that is to always hook to something in common, like here. So let's do this. Instead of going from there to there, I'm going to go from here to here to here, and I'm going to include that. So each one as we go across will connect up via this belt here. We're not actually reading the contents of the belt. That's kind of important. Anyway, there's our stripe. We just need to put that down for each one of these. But I'm going to put them down in a different order. I'm also going to assume that when we recycle interesting things like the red chips, we're going to bring the results of that back to the beginning here. Now, in order to feed it in here, I need to have some access to it. The other alternative is I can bring it back in here. Let's bring it back in here. Okay. So my bots are off. So the base bots are going to pick up all of this. And we'll just let them go really fast. That's clean enough. We want a way to inject more things here. So we need something like this. You want to go like that, like that. Your input priority is left. Your input priority is right. So we've got things coming in on the re-recycling. They'll go like that. Okay, so there's the stuff that we're ready to sort. This is our This is our resort line. I want to start out with the things that have the lowest net rate. And there's a bunch of things that are all at the same net rate, 38.4 per minute for the total net. Actually, let's bring up the spreadsheet again. Okay, so these things are things that we get from Re-Recyling. And I am surprised that our total output rate is the same on all of them. So I'm wondering if I've got a bug in my code, but it seems sensible. So let's start thinking about what order I want all this in. Obviously the scrap is special. And we're going to pull off the stuff that's early. I will sort this. Let's do that. So, ascending order. This would say LDS comes first, which kind of makes sense. LDS is interesting in that it recycles to 3 different things. We've got a bunch of things that are very low rate. Let's start off with holmium ore and iron ore, and then iron plate and copper plate. Green chips, brick, green chips, and plastic. Those all kind of make sense. If I put green chips last, that will segue into red chips and blue chips. These are going to be kind of a pseudo bus that comes off the south. Stone, I'm going to put stone up with brick. And battery is kind of a plastic battery kind of thing. Steel plate is going to be very interesting. I'll bring that up here. Concrete can go up with brickstone concrete. Again, I'm trying to order this in a way that will make sense when we're using it. Gears. So copper wire, green chip, red chip, blue chip. Fine. Ice and fuel. Let's bring those off early on. So I'm trying to make this, first of all, I want to push our high nets down toward the bottom of the array. Okay, things that are likely to block us up. Actually, these guys that take more than one scrapper to handle their recycling, we should put those at the bottom anyway, just to make absolutely sure we handle those properly. I'm going to toss gears down toward the bottom because those are, 576 per minute. The rest of these look good. A single fast inserter, I think that's around 300 per minute. Let me look in my other window. Looking for my hard limits. Fast inserters are about 300 a minute. Bulk inserters are about 500 a minute. They're actually 580. Call it 500 a minute right now because we are running with a stack size of 4. Eventually these will be stack size 12, but right now they're 4. And I measured it in a editor on the thing. You type /editor, and it will put you in a God mode thing, creative God mode. It also cancels out any achievements you might get from that save. So we're not using that right now, but I went into an editor and I set it up so that I had inserters that were moving from a belt into a box. And I think that's going to be the same rate as from a belt into a recycler. So these guys can handle 300, the other guys can handle 500, and that's what we're sticking with. So this is our blueprint now. This does not handle recycling, so let's think about that next. We're coming out the bottom here. What I want to do is I want to recycle into a thing like that. Now, for many things, for the last few things on the list, as you can see on the spreadsheet here, concrete, steel plate, and copper wire are going to need more than one machine down here doing recycling when they actually need to get recycling done. Copper wire has a rate of 1,242, which is more than one lane. So in fact, that's 3 machines, so yeah. Potentially, once we start doing the re-recycling, this guy's going to get slowed down if we're recycling a lot of the other stuff. So, yeah, that's that. Now, there's 2 things we can do with this guy. First of all, let's make sure we can jump over all of this. That's our maximum jump, so we have no way of getting our input into here from the undergrounds. But we can bring it in with an inserter over here. And this is a normal guy here, so I could just bring this in. He needs to be conditional, and his conditional is going to be kind of complex. So let's grab a decision combinator. Let's make a decision on how we want to do the recycling here. If I just hook you up, you will get a few thingamabobbers, and that will be fine. Because there's a whole bunch in there. So we want to go in here, and we want to say circuit network. Oh, let's get the circuit network hooked up. So boom, boom, to you, up to you. So we're all hooked up, and this is actually going to be spread across all of them. So we actually want a green wire carrying our go signal, because our go signal is going to be hard to differentiate. And that means the red signal does not need to go like that. There we go. So notice I'm trying to keep all of this in these 2 cells with just this one thing poking out to the left so that we can pass along our signal to the next guy. Under what circumstances do I want to recycle the gears? Well, this is going to be actually different for each one, but we're going to start off. Well, can I set this up as a blueprint first of all? Not if I want to test it. Okay, so we're going to first of all say if the number of gears in these boxes, it may have filled up one box. So I'm going to say if there's 40 stacks of this, then we want to recycle. So we're going to say 4,000. So if this is greater than 4,000, then we are going to output a signal here on our green wire, which is the recycling signal. Okay? And this guy has a condition, enable me when the recycling signal is set. And again, the green wire doesn't go from slice to slice horizontally. Okay. Boom, there we go. So we've got that. Or, next condition is if we have some gear wheels and we don't have what it goes into, okay, I should probably do this for something that has more ingredients. I will work that out in a moment. Let's get it working first for this guy. You. So, and let's say iron plates is our output. Now I can get these, so I can get iron plates by looking at ingredients of the gear wheel. So iron plate is less than 1,000. So this is going to be a number of stacks of this guy, and gear wheels. Again, I have to have different numbers in each one of these so I can set them up with formulas. So the 1,000 is if we get low on iron plates when we want to start recycling gear wheels early. This is the number of gear wheels we have to allow this. So I'm going to say if we have at least, yeah, 2,000, we'll work it out in a moment. And this is our output of gear wheels. Nice long thing. Well, this ink won't fit for the whole thing. If I look at the sizing and placement of this, oh, actually, that's not bad. We can start it right there. Remember, I don't actually need this one to have its red tag going to the left. Let's, however, before we do that, I want to place this down and get something that has more ingredients. So the things that do the most are the red chips and the LDS. Let's do this for LDS. Except I forgot we are making this parametric. So screws are the item that we are recycling. Input item is this parameter 0. And Inger 1 is this guy, which is an ingredient of 0. Okay. 4,000 is upper, let's see, input QTY limit upper. QTY upper limit. This is a parameter, and it is a formula, and it is P0 stack size times 40. So we will allow 40 stacks. So this is iron plate less than 1,000. Formula P1 stack size times, I'm going to say if we have less than 5 stacks of one of our ingredients, so Inger low threshold. This is item threshold. We have an item low threshold. And again, this is P0 stack size times 5. So if we need to have at least 5 stacks of the item to recycle it to get the ingredients. And we're going to do that until we have at least 5 stacks of the ingredient. We don't need a 1 there. We don't need to parameterize any of those. Now this is going to get bigger when we have more ingredients. Create blueprint. I'm going to put this down here somewhere. Put it here. Keeping it separate so I can snap it back in. We are going to put down low density structure. And we're waiting on the other guys. Let's pick up this guy. Come on, everybody finish up. There we go. So this is set up with low density structure so I can get these guys going correctly. So we're enabling, disabling on this. Now with low density structure, we've got more ingredients. Okay. Specifically, low density structure extracts into plastic and steel plate. So we want to copy this low density structure. I can't use, right click, left click stuff. So this is greater than 250. Need to make sure that all 3 of these numbers are distinct. So we have 250s for our low density structure limit. Our ingredients, copper and plastic and steel plate. And I need to have 3 distinct numbers here. So this is going to be 501 and, oops. Yep, 502 and 503. So I can get those parameterized properly. So if we have too many of this, or if we have enough of this and not enough of these guys, then we're going to output the 1. Okay. I believe the rest of these are just properly done already, so we are going to grab our... Let's see, do I have a blueprint I want to use for this already? Yeah, scrap recycler. Let's keep reusing that blueprint there. So this guy is going to get reloaded, select new contents. Okay, so now this is reloaded with our new layout, which provides those 2. Now this is not appropriate for, as mentioned, the ones on that spreadsheet, concrete, steel plate, and wire. I'm leaving that up there for now so we can remind ourselves what order we want to put these down in and which ones are going to need a lot more work. So what do I want to put in here? We're going to say we're parameterized for parameter 0. We are going to use red technology to do splitting. We are going to be using green inserters. I like documenting the technology in the icon. So lots of green inserters this time. I can always use a upgrade planner to change the green inserters to blue inserters if I want. And we are dumping it in yellow chests. So we should be dumping it, well, yeah, the yellow chests are good because that means if we have LDSs elsewhere and the robots pick them up, they'll want to put them in here, which is what we want. There we go. Peel all parameter 0 from the dual belt line in the middle. Buffer into storage chests. Refill belt from storage chests and recycle the results if appropriate. Save blueprint. Now I should edit the description here. I'm not sure how to word this, so for now we're just going to leave it as it is. I do need, however, to get in here parameterization. This is item to capture parameter 0. .501 is the first ingredient. 502 is the second ingredient. 503 is the third ingredient. Make sure we get these in the right order. So that's first ingredient, second ingredient, third ingredient. Okay. Ingredient 1, parameter ingredient of 0. Oops. Parameter ingredient of 0. Now, I have looked at all of the recycling that I'm going to be doing. None of them has more than 3 output items. Now, this is item upper threshold. So if we have 40 stacks of item 0, we will trigger our first threshold. Now we have thresholds for ingredients 1, 2, and 3. P1 stack size times 5. So we're going to say if we have 5 stacks, well, 5 stacks of each ingredient is their threshold. Remember, that's the threshold where we might decide to start start scrapping early. And this is item lower threshold. So we don't scrap if we're below this value. And this again is P0 underscore S times 5. And that goes here. And the 0 and the 1 are just normal stuff. And this is our signal guy. Now note, this only works for base quality stuff. If I start introducing more quality, this grid gets bigger. So I think when we go higher quality items, when we start using quality modules in our miners, when we start using quality modules on our recyclers, we will be advanced enough in the game that I will be using robots to do all of the sorting, because we won't have 18 items output, we'll have 3 times that. Okay. So here we go. Did that get saved? It did not get saved. God damn it. You know what? I am not going to be quite so verbose about this. This is ingredient. This is ingredient. This is ingredient. I'm going to put 250 up here. 503, 0 goes down here, recycler goes down here, there we go. This is our parameter formula. So if you don't actually hit the confirm button, you lose everything you just typed. Fortunately, these are all very similar. There we go. I don't really need to name these guys that are calculated. It won't be asking me about them, so now we do that. Now when I bring it up, it will have all of these set. Save blueprint. Now when I put down the blueprint, let's do one for comparison. So if I tell it you are doing low density structures, it fills this in with all of the items, all the ingredients and their proper quantities. There we go. So we now have a working blueprint. If we do it for things that have less than 3, it's going to have weird stuff in the layout, but that's all right. So what order do we want to do this in now? This is why I still have the thingy in there. We're starting off with LDS. I'm going to put it here because I do not need to hook it off to the left. You're doing LDS. Actually, let's leave that down there like that. Okay, so you are all hooked up. I do not have power. Okay, so we goofed on something. I don't have power to those to that inserter or to this guy. This is why we test. If I put power down here, that still doesn't cover this guy, and we have no opportunity anywhere in here for power here. In order for this to work, I need to make a gap. This distance is fixed. This inserter, this splitter is doing 2 things. I think what I'm going to need to do is come over here and make this longer. Now, picking this back up is going to be a pain because all these. Oh, okay. I can reprogram the numbers. That's fine. Now, if we go down here and I pick up from here, I bring this down by 2. That gives me the opportunity to put power in here, which covers that guy. I still need to put power in for this guy. I can stretch you down by 1. I can switch you horizontally. Oh, that doesn't help at all. I still need... This is just outside of range from here. Oh. I can either have that line up. Well, that works. Now, if I wanted, I could just use the fast splitters all the way over with no belts, but belts are cheaper. It doesn't gain us anything. Okay, let's see if I can pick up the new contents. So item is still programmed, these are still programmed, but what we have lost now are the ingredients here. So this needs to be 251, 252, and 253. Get those to be different so we can parameterize them distinctly. There we go. So 251, this is the condition for 0. Oh, that's wrong. Okay, I did the wrong ones. It's these guys, 51, 52, 53. Those quantities are the ones that are different. There we go. Come on. Select new contents. Boom. You're set. You're set. You guys are set. You are not going to be parameterized, or you, or you. So 250 is the lower threshold for P0. When these guys are parameterized for P1, P2, and P3. I think that's correct now. Now this does mean we are now too long for that area. I think I can still fit it here though. Yeah, we're too long for that, but I can fit it here. So we're going to start right there. And we're going to start with LDS. If I leave this here, I should be able to manipulate it and resnap the blueprint if I find anything I need to work on. This leaves us with additional space here, which is not a bad thing. We're good, we're good. There's power, everybody's got power. These are all set up. Okay, so we start placing these down. So after LDS is holmium ore, and iron ore, iron plate, copper plate. We'll work out the power grid in the future. Ice and solid fuel. brick and stone. Okay. Plastic and batteries. And let's move this over here somewhere. I think that will retain everything. It's got batteries. Picking up after batteries is green chips and red chips and blue chips and gears. And now we get to the things that are going to be kind of special. Gears and concrete. Three, four, five, six, boom. Get some lightning protection in there. We may want to peel these last few off and space them out more in the future. Once we get going, we'll figure out whether we're going to do that. Concrete, steel plate, and copper wire. Probably won't move them, but we might. Okay, get you guys all set up. And we still need some more recyclers here. Let's get you guys turned on, get you guys turned on. I'm going to make 5 recyclers. I think I covered this in the last recording, but the idea is that I requested materials. I've got handy hands set to please give me some of those. And after I've made them, they get placed. And we have to turn on handy hands because it's not always a good thing to have that turned on. And once we're done, I can turn those off. Okay, now these are all ready to go. We are not consuming anything from the bottom of the bus yet. And our recycler is not yet hooked up to do recycling for this guy. You need to come out like this. I should probably lane balance these, but I'm not going to. So there you are. Somehow these got picked up. That's all right. I need to have all of my... Oh, I know what happened here. What happened here was all of our... yeah, all of our mines are dead. They've all mined out all their stuff. So, of course, it picked up the mines automatically and all the belts that they put them into. All the way out there. I'm glad we didn't pick up all the machines they were connected to. So now what I need, well, we're going to move this guy. Let's move this whole thing. You're going to move in here somewhere. Actually, we're going to bring it out somewhere better. So we need basically 3 lines of scrap coming in now. I want to crank this guy up and get it running. What do we have in the way of scrap? We've got all this scrap down here. We've got scrap over here. I think this scrap I'm going to feed into this guy. And then just I'll set up stuff for down there. Okay. Useful many places. Miner unit 2. All of these, I'm going to start from centered on this scrap area, where I'm going to end up getting rid of all of this stuff. So we're going to go boom, boom, boom. I'm going to flip you around. I think this covers most of it, but it would be better if we covered all of it. Like that. Okay, now according to rate limiter, transport belts, this gives us 0.92 red transport belts per minute. Now I want to actually put down all of the stuff here. Let's get this all covered. How am I going to cover all of you? I'm going to have to go there if I want to cover all of this stuff. Yeah. Boom. And down one here. Now, these guys, I do need to have some coverage in here. I guess I can put you there. Everything's covered, I think. Nearly. So I want all of the belts that are coming out here to be represented in my actual output somehow. Doesn't matter how. You can go away. I'm just going to put one of you guys in like that. These do not need to be evenly merged. This, however, will need to be here. Now I am going to do a cheap lane balancer here. The idea is just to get some on each side. And you're going to go into the old guy. And I'm going to pick up from here. I'm going to prioritize output to the left. So any that this guy isn't handling is going to come down here. Now, similar down in this area, I want to pick up all of this. So need to be on this line. So we're going to start here. In fact, I'm going to just bring this up. I'm going to say snap to grid absolute. And we're just going to scrub all of this down. Do I want to get these guys down here as well? I'll cover those later. Oh, no. Why not? That'll get mostly coverage. Okay. We have many lines. And again, it's not truly important that we balance things. Just we have everybody represented. I'm going to take these down and around, so this is going to look like this. This guy joins up here, but I'm going to flip it. Like that. You can actually flip it from map mode easier. So now all three of these are coming together at the bottom here. What we can do is make it so it's not quite so unbalanced. There. Okay, so all of this is now coming through on the top three up there. And these three plus this one needs to go into these two. Again, it doesn't need to be balanced. Move you out of the way. Now you are filtering to a red box like that. You are going to the right. I'm going to pick you guys up real quick. Put you down clean. So any scrap that we have in our recycling area should go up into here. Unless we've got a box somewhere else with that filter turned on. And now we should have all these lines of scrap coming in. This guy is going to be maintaining a stock in the logistics network for us. That's all he does. And these guys are going to be trying to do the re-recycling to get all of the stocks of all of the things. And of course, none of these guys are going to start recycling until we have enough parts in there to make a dam. Let's take a look at these. So these guys that have this, they will always trigger. So I need to make sure that if we have these conditions, that they are gone. I'm not sure why that is different. I don't know why it uses that on some of them and the other formulation on the other ones. But it does give me something to look at. So plastic, does plastic actually decay into that? Let's look at my list here. Oh, look at this. I still got my spreadsheet up there? Yep, okay. So plastic bar recycling gives up just plastic bars. So you don't ever have the opportunity of giving me coal, alas. It's like, by and large, these are mostly correct. You do not give me water. And does concrete actually give me iron ore and stone brick? Oops. Concrete recycling gives me stone brick and iron ore. Yes, that is correct. Steel just gives me steel. I know that for sure. We do not get iron by tearing apart steel. We can confirm that. Steel plate recycling just gives steel plate. And this, there we go. So we will tear apart the copper cable if we lack a copper plate. So there is our bigger recycler, which is now bringing in a bunch of stuff. I can actually go redirect things from my storage back down to here. Let's make sure my robots are turned off so we just get the main robots doing this bit. We go up to storage. Oh, I'm on the wrong floor. Someday I will bring in a bunch of cliff explosives and we'll get rid of all of these cliffs. I think they have outlived their usefulness. Starting from the bottom, we are just going to take out anything that I think is a recycling product. And if we have more than a full box of it, it will put the remainder up here. That is fine. Ice, batteries, gears. And I'm going to do you because you've got multiple things in. So, let's get everything filed. I'm going to go watch this from the recycler end. What are we missing here? We are missing a recycler. Oh, down here. Okay. I'm not worried about him. Although let's actually have Handy Hands active for a moment. There. That's just in case we need to edit this layout. I think we're good here. We're not re-recycling anything yet. We will in a moment once these stock levels start to be filled up by the bots. Well, by the bots and by the scrap coming in from the left. So, what are the chances that nothing is ready to recycle yet? This is weird. Don't we have enough gears? This guy should be recycling. He is outputting. Why is he not? Okay, you. Your conditions are all wrong. Okay. We can fix that easily enough. So the condition is recycling is greater than 0. Not less than 0. We'll fix it down in our prototype. Okay, now you notice that all of these guys are coming on the bottom lane. So that's what I was talking about doing the lane balancing. So I'm going to bring it together like that, and now I'm going to actually put in the balancer. I guess I have to build this manually because the bots are all busy moving stock. There we go. Oh, I know how I can make this one better. Do that. Whee! And you can see what I'm recycling. Now there's 0 chance this is actually gonna keep up with everything. I believe my re-recycling rates are higher than a red belt. Which means I probably ought to identify the ones here that are the big contributors. At some point, like here, do that. That's a little better. That actually doesn't help at all, because we're still cranking it down to 1 belt. Yeah, the way I've done it here, we really only get 1 belt out, no matter what we do. Unless I somehow prioritize to people being on the top belt. So my big recyclers are concrete. Well, eventually, these guys on the right. I have a hard time believing we're not there yet on these guys. We only have 3.9K. Okay. So when we go above 1K, we recycle him until we have enough. Okay, we're doing good. I wonder if we were just overflowing because of the initial stock levels. We'll see what this turns into in the long run. But this now means that I can tap this off the bottom to pick up any of these guys I want. So for instance, I could have homing ore coming up here. And it will be on both sides of the belt, but it probably will not be balanced. Lane balanced. This coming in will be arbitrarily sighted, randomly sighted actually. Coming out here, we're going to be filling in on the right lane here and on the right lane here, so maybe it'll be belt balanced. Once we start getting low, it'll be on one side and not the other. Okay. I think that's enough for now. This gets us a mechanism that allows us to sort onto belts and to be able to get all of the 18 things that we can get from recycling scrap. I think I'm going to call this a recording here. When I come back, I think I'm going to let this run until we're done pulling things from the top, and until this looks like it's got some sort of a sensible set of levels going. I am then going to let it run beyond. I'll do a save at that point, then I'll let it run beyond that and see if we actually lock up, which is a possibility. There are some things where you recycle them, you get more items out than you got in. So we get to a condition where a recycler cannot output because everything is full. So if all of these lanes back all the way up back to here, so if you can't output, and if everybody is stopped because your input is locked up, I don't think that's going to be likely. In fact, I think I would have to wait until something actually filled the box completely before that happens. That may be too long of a wait. So I won't actually wait for that to happen. I don't want to see that failure mode. I don't want my desire to see that failure mode is not high enough to make me wait. If I see it, I will deal with it. I don't expect to see it. Now, the red wire does have a nice list of thingies. So what I'm going to do before we call it an episode, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to put in one of these guys. So this is going to be determining the stack size of each thing we have in stock. And then I'm going to divide the amount in stock on red by the stack size in green. So for each on red, divide by the corresponding each on green, outputting it on each. So this is the number of stacks of each item that I have in this recycler. And you'll notice that we have 96 stacks of gear wheels. 40 stacks is our threshold. So the question is, do we see things going up or down? And once they hit 40, are they going down? What we see is we have a number of things that are growing. We're still getting things in from the main stock. So it's not clear which things are growing because they're in main stock and what's here. What I would expect is, of course, that concrete and steel plate and copper wire will grow without bound. I don't expect the gear wheels are, so this and this and this. Stone is being produced at a net 153.6 per minute. We should be able to scrap that out. Yeah. So we'll see what that comes to. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you in the next recording.